Well, thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of Policy Gone Viral. I'm here with Leah Vukmir and Jess Ward from National Taxpayers Union, and we're talking about the proposed ballot 2 or Amendment 2 on the Florida ballot in this upcoming election in November. So let's go ahead and get started. So Leah, Florida has a constitutional ballot initiative in November to raise the state's minimum wage to $15 by 2026. First of all, just go ahead and tell us, is this a good idea and why?
It's never a good idea when government gets involved. And I'll say that very, very strongly, but you don't have to take my opinion for that. There are plenty of studies that confirm exactly what negative economic implications are when you do suddenly put minimum wage increases in place. We can look to Seattle, which is in the process of getting to $15 an hour. I believe they're at $13.50 an hour right now. And the University of Washington did a study on this, and effectively what they found is that the hours worked for entry-level workers decreased by 9%. And that translated into $125 a month from their wages. That's significant money, a significant amount of money. And I know it sounds great on paper, and these ballot initiatives sound great when you're looking at it without actually diving into the details. And I think it would be a big mistake for Florida to go in this direction. Right.
And Jess, we're kind of at a point where we're recovering from a global pandemic, and we're just beginning that slow path of recovery. So how do you think this might play a role in recovery in a time, where it might not be the best time to implement something like this?
Yeah, I mean, currently Florida is at an $8.50 or 56 cents, minimum wage. This would be a 75% increase. And when you consider the closures that businesses have already experienced as a result of the pandemic, reduced revenue, this is a disaster, and it will put an enormous burden on small businesses that already have, a huge burden to bear. Talk about a 75% increase. That would make Florida an outlier, not only in the Southwest, but nationwide as a whole. And businesses just can't handle that right now. It's an awful time to be implementing this type of policy.
Yeah, we would also be the first state to actually put a minimum wage increase in our Constitution. Which is different than the legislature just passing a piece of legislation. So this is really going to affect small businesses, and they're going to have to adjust if this goes into effect. So what are you seeing as far as the impact that it's going to have on them, Leah?
Well, guaranteeing $15 per hour as the wage to every worker in Florida is a law that is going to guarantee that a substantial number of Floridians won't be working, plain and simple. What's going to happen is people will be priced out of a lockdown, ravaged job market. And that's what we have right now. Before this year is out, hundreds, if not thousands, of small business owners are going to be shuttering their windows, closing their doors. And that means employees will be losing jobs. During the midst of a COVID pandemic, there could not be a worse time for a law like this to go into place.
Right, and I also think about, so many Floridians are retired on a fixed income too. So you really have to think about the option that this might have in raising a lot of prices when you go out to eat, which is really a treat for a lot of people that are on a fixed income. Jess, looking at this from a worker's perspective, I would think if you were an employee, this seems like a positive. Is that the right perspective?
I think probably some people would see an increase in their paycheck. However, it's not going to remotely compare to those who either lose their jobs or aren't offered benefits, or just the plain fact that the hours are going to be cut. Small businesses can't afford a lot of the automation that some of the larger businesses have in terms of, capital investment. And you're going to see a lot of businesses make cuts, and that's going to start with the workers.
Right. Well, Leah, Jess, Thanks so much for taking a few minutes to chat with me about this issue. If folks want to learn more, is there a place on your website that you could direct them to? Is it just
Well, they can visit us at ntu.org, or they can contact us there. We'd be happy to follow up and point them in the direction of the research that really shows what the economic implications would be. I really think it's important for Florida voters to realize and be aware that in 2020, we're looking at economic growth and jobs are on your ballot, and they need to be wise and smart as they go into the voter box, the ballot box this year.
Well, we would completely agree. So again, we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.